Good, and I'll pull up the. Well, I was thinking of the next recital because where we left off before you got sick was the repertoire selection, and you whittled it down to a few different things, but I wasn't sure what you decided on. Okay. Yeah. Oh man. Ramon says he can't hear you.
Ooh, okay, cool. All right, now I fixed it, I think. I don't know when that happened. I don't know
I
why
don't know.
yeah, muted the microphone. Okay, remote, let me know if you can hear me now. I think it should work now. And I'm going to switch back to the desktop view in a second here. Um, all right, let's see. Cool. So, can I? Do you have that link by any chance from last time, or I can send the link here in
Yeah, just send
Zoom.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we go. So, spring 26. So yeah, I'd like to talk about like this idea of like a concert proposal, I guess, and try to keep building toward like a systematic kind of process of hey Heidi, hey Skittles, hey Ramon, good to see you all. So yeah, my thought with this set is that um, it is mostly relearning old music that I've played in the past.
Did you ever do Andecy in the past?
I haven't. That one is
Okay.
like currently in this list the only
That's
one
one
that
of
would
his
be.
more rare ones.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice. I mean, it's
It
really
is.
nice. I remember you mentioned you suggested that I could work on that one, and yeah, it's
And I
super
believe
nice.
he recently re-released it through
Yeah.
his company, right? Because it used to be part of a Wyndham Hill or Narada like fingerstyle guitar sampler like 30
Uh
years
huh.
ago. That's where I got it. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the program. I'll tell you my thoughts based on any of the question stuff.
Uh huh.
I would swap out the Dowland for the Bach Saraband. I think you'd learn more from doing it, and I think it would be far more musically
Okay.
satisfying for you and the audience
Okay.
between those two pieces. And this has nothing to do with the way you play the Dowland. I just think
Uh
that
huh.
Saraband in particular is one of the most beautiful things you could
Yeah.
play.
That's okay. Can I give my reasoning there, my
Yeah.
thought? So I can already play the Dowland now,
Hmm.
and the Saraband would be learning something new.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do want to. I like the idea of getting started on the rest of the 1007 suite.
Yeah, it
Um,
gets you closer. And the things about playing Baroque sarabands in particular are
uh
how
huh.
flexible you have to be musically with rhythm and phrasing. Whereas the
Yeah.
Dowland doesn't give that to you necessarily, and you've played that for a while.
Yeah.
So that would give you two new pieces in 3 months. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's really doable. And the Saraband is a relatively quick learn for notes and rhythms.
Uh
Like you
huh.
could play it. You could probably sight read most of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe.
it's the
Yeah.
overall crafting of the. No,
Cool.
look at it, dude. It's like you they'll be like, oh, let me work on that measure or let me work on this measure. The majority of it will fall right under your fingers. But one, you get to experiment with ornamentation on the repeats, regardless of if it's
Uh
French or
huh.
Italian. This is an Italian style.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where you can really explore.
Uh-huh.
And that's something I know that you have an interest in. So that's a great canvas for that. Two,
Yeah.
it gets you a lot closer to completing the suite, but also in
Yeah.
terms of audience engagement,
Uh-huh.
that is a winner.
Okay. Okay.
If I go through all the different times, because I use that with Aaron, there are like, I don't know, 10 go to pieces
Uh-huh.
for Aaron's that I just know work really well on guitars.
Yeah.
That's one of them. And almost other than Villalobos or something, that one gets the most views
Wow.
somewhat consistently. So
Really?
it
Yeah.
really is, yeah, it's a
Hell yeah.
winner, and it'll pair with the Prelude well. And then we've got Leander, which has been work in progress, and I think
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. And then Andecy.
Yeah.
So you got two new pieces in that 3 month span, and plenty of time to maintain and improve all the rest. That's my thought.
Yeah. Cool.
Because it's musical growth that makes room for further technical growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we get our chops up to stuff, and you've made a lot of progress overall with the right hand and the things we've talked about in the left hand. But there comes a point where the scale has to flip a little bit,
Yeah.
so that we can make room for, well, what do we need to work on now with our left hand?
Right. Right. Yeah. And in terms of left hand, that's partly why I'm thinking of bringing back one of these Brouwer etudes.
Yeah.
So I've played both of those in the past, and yeah, 16 is a great Baroque ornamentation kind of etude, I think. And then 20 is just like a slur beast.
Yeah.
And it's like a cool finisher, I think, to a concert. Like it's kind of explosive and loud and kind of rock song ish. So, in terms of like a concert program, I think 20 would end a concert a little bit better, but 16 would work really well complementing the Saraband, right? Like,
I think your ender in this, out of all these pieces, is definitely Leander.
oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Put it at the end.
That's
Okay.
out of all these pieces, that's your
Yeah.
ender.
Okay.
You know?
Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm so used to always doing things chronological, but
And it's okay if
we
you're
can
doing like a
break
history of
that.
the guitar kind of thing.
it has been a lot.
Yeah. And so in that case, this is where I'm gonna like get all nutty on you. In that case, drop the lute music and play like Guardame las Vacas or the Milan
Yeah.
Pavans, or like keep it in the Vihuela family and the Baroque guitar rather
Yeah.
than the lute. If we were gonna do a history of our
Yeah.
music, it's not to say that we can't play lute music, but at that time we've got Baroque guitar and Vihuela
Yeah.
and tons of stuff that's really good music. So I kind of lean that way whenever I try to do this history of the guitar sort of theme.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here you're covering, I mean, so many bases.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you've got every major era minus the
Yeah.
Renaissance.
Yeah. But
And it's
I mean,
okay.
isn't Dowland?
Yeah, but that's what I
if I
mean.
take that
If
out,
that's gone, yeah.
yeah,
But
that's
it
fine.
was,
Yeah.
let's put it this way, it was minor representation.
Yeah.
Because it was one little spot out of the
Sure.
whole program.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think that that's too much of a sacrifice for what you get programmatically.
Okay.
But 20 is a great one to do.
Uh-huh.
If you wanted to do 16, that's fine too. It's got a ton of ornaments in it. But I'll tell you the thought that I have. I mean, 11 is one of my
Yeah.
personal favorites. But which one am I thinking about that would go well with this? It must be slipping my mind. I'm sure I'll remember
Yeah.
halfway through your lesson of the one I was thinking that would go like incredibly well with all of this. It'll come back to me.
So this
So
partly,
those are my thoughts.
Cool. So this partly brings me to another question. This season, I've been wondering what do you think in terms of, should I be working in more sight reading and like learning just random new pieces, doing more reading, even if I'm not bringing something up to a concert program? And more specifically, like in my workflow now, every day I'm just setting a 30-minute timer, and in Mujo, my item is either Brower or Carcassi, and I'm doing 30 minutes on either Brower studies or Carcassi studies. Some days I'm developing ones I've already learned. Other days I'm learning new ones. Like I love the idea of like learning 11 more, and like I just got like the Nuevos Estudios Sencillos somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And
Number 9.
yeah.
Put
Okay,
number 9 on.
Nuevos
I mean, number 9 is just, even if you did the anti-encore,
Uh-huh.
it's not like like anti-encore is like the Stanley Myers Cavatina or like some Julio Florida, like some slow piece.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a program with lots of notes. Sometimes the anti-encore, it really, really works well because you just come out and play this beautiful little tune.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. It becomes a very memorable moment because it was very unexpected. Most of the time with encores we expect, third movement of Liber Sonatine or something short and really fast and real flashy.
Yeah.
But I love the anti-encore. I just
Cool.
it settles things down for me. So anything, that you have from your other programs could act in that regard. Or number 9, just because it's such a beautiful tune. So to answer your question, I think having dedicated time for sight reading every day is great. If you have the time.
Yeah.
And keep it to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be that long. An exploration, because if you're doing it every day, you're flexing that muscle.
Right.
What I think the thing that a lot of folks don't get to do is really explore the rep.
Yeah.
So I think that certainly 10 to 15 minutes of sight reading a day, but making a list of you don't have to even think of the pieces so much, but all of the composers that you've played.
Yeah.
And having just a spreadsheet. I played, blah, 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 so that you can see where your holes are. Because a lot of folks, for instance, they've played Giuliani studies and they've played Carcassi studies, but they've never really played any classic era repertoire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like Soar Opus 5 or any of the smaller stuff, or like Giuliani's The Rose or something like that. So all of a sudden we have these holes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
even if you decide in your career that you never want to play X music, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
But in your role as a teacher and future teacher,
Yeah.
what are you going to do when a student comes to you and says, I want to play this Soar piece, and you've never played any?
Yeah.
Or Giuliani, that kind of thing. So that's the function that we have at graduate level guitar lit, where you got to learn, like, okay, this week you're learning a Torina piece, next week you're learning Faya, next week you're doing this, next week you're doing that. So that you get a taste, even though it might not be performance ready in a week.
Right.
It's like you start understanding the different stylistic norms of not only those genres, but the composers too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'd say, take a few minutes, when you're chilling this week,
Sure.
and just start writing, take all your programs and just put them in a spreadsheet, and then
Yeah.
you could even organize them by era or genre, and then start thinking, well, I've done a lot of Baroque music, but it's all been Bach. Okay, well, let's look at, Devisé, let's look at Weiss, let's look at this, like Scarlatti. How do you round that out? I mean, certainly you're not going wrong with Bach, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the flip side, if somebody only played Scarlatti and they've never played a whole Bach suite, I know for me, when I went to graduate school, I played a lot of Bach, but not a lot of suites. I played like 4 out of the 6 movements of that, 3 out of this.
Yeah.
So it was like a kind of pinata hit.
Right. Right.
And so when you think Leyenda's great, but there's also Granados, Faya, Torina. Then we get into Torba.
Yeah.
And we get some major works, and I don't mean they're like war horses, but they're made like works in the canon, so we can explore new things.
Yeah.
That, like Andecy or any piece that even like the Take On Me arrangements. This is new.
Yeah.
While also kind of infusing the old into it, so that prepares you more as a player and a teacher.
Yeah.
So those are, again, my thoughts. You cultivate what interests you in that, and I certainly can make suggestions. But don't feel overly committed to all of that time for sight reading, because they can kind of go hand in hand. You're learning a new piece. Well, here's your sight reading over the next week.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
it's like spend 10 minutes sight reading it. Now spend 15 minutes practicing what you sight read.
Okay.
Two separate things, but you're using your sight reading as part of your learning phase.
Yeah.
You know.
So musical goals, like I really want to learn a whole Bach suite. Like that feels like a goal for me.
It's a
And
great goal.
definitely, yeah, 1007 because I've learned a random movement from a bunch of things. Like I've never mentioned it, I don't think, but I did like the Sarabande from the third or second violin partita, I think.
Okay.
One
The
of
D
them.
minor with the chaconne.
No, not that one. Yeah.
Okay, that's
it's-
number 2.
yeah, that one is number 2. I think it was from the first partita. Yeah, it's nice, but it's just like the standalone piece,
Yeah.
and I could relearn that and play it, but I think it's more musically interesting to me to like flesh out and have like a little set of things. So, I
Hey,
was,
Luna.
yeah,
Luna's in the
yeah.
back. I'll
Do
tell
you-
you that completing the suite is not only a good goal to have, I think it's a necessary one because
Yeah.
even though right now, then this was a change, honest, like with the shutdown and more of the remote concerts and us really kind of exponentially
Yeah,
producing video work. You don't see a lot of multi-movement works performed as a single unit anymore. I mean, I know
attention
that.
spans. Yeah,
It's attention span, but it's also the medium. It's like you're going to put up a 20-minute video versus each movement separately. Which one is going to get you
yeah,
more people engaged? You know.
yeah,
And so what happened is that even us, like when we were now playing concerts online, we're not doing complete suites anymore, and that's not a crime. And for a lot of people, like you said, shorter attention spans, they can, they can digest more. That's cool. But on an individual growth level, it feels really good when you play a multi-movement 20-minute
Yeah.
work or 15-minute work. There's a sense of accomplishment there.
yeah,
And the fact that you have to learn how to musically develop ideas over a much longer time.
yeah.
And that pedagogically is a very, very good skill to have. You know?
Cool.
So that I can give you every reason in the world to do it. You just gotta want to say, yeah, I want to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, excellent. And yeah, that's my thought of continuing to flesh out these like sets of etudes as well, like Brouwer, Carcassi, and like I mean, I've only done one Garcia etude, but I got the book and
Oh, there's a ton in there that are fantastic.
yeah, yeah,
And that can serve well for your sight reading too, at least up until the 20s.
yeah.
Once you get there, it's like that's not really sight reading real estate.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then in like at the top of this page, like how would you break down just like generally where to prioritize my time? Like if this is a board game or a video game or something and I've got 10 resource points that I could distribute here, like I feel a benefit of sight reading is that I can like learn music faster.
Yeah.
But I already feel like I have enough repertoire for my musical goals. Like
Yeah.
Unless I become a teacher more full time, like that's a really great point that you brought up. Like doing more reading.
Since you brought up resource like skill points,
Yeah, yeah,
think classes and subclasses without getting too confusing, right?
okay,
So if you're going to a general class, right? The ones who survive the early ones are the more bard-like ones who have
Okay.
kind of a level plane, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have they don't have 10 in their intelligence and 1 in their strength.
sure.
There's like
More
3s, 4s, and
well-rounded.
5s, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then as they develop, now if you like you might be a bard, but you start subclassing and you're a thief because you put your points into dexterity.
Yeah,
Do you see my point? So when you're not sure what to do, like I could do this, I could do this. Start with a level playing field and equal time for everything.
okay, yeah,
Then do that for 1 week. And at the end, even before the end of the week, you're gonna already be leaning towards One, what you enjoy more, which is obviously rep. Most people do,
Yeah.
you know. But you'll be able to say, hey, man, this is a little too much time on technique overall, which I will never say. But
Yeah.
maybe if you've got 2 hours a day and you find that you're spending an hour on technique, that's a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Rather than
Is
30
it?
minutes to
Yeah.
45 minutes. Oh, yeah. It should be like a quarter to a third of your overall daily work.
Uh huh.
Because as you see on your list and what you've been saying, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
I leave theory, like any kind of analytical stuff, that is a separate session that I don't include in my practice time.
Okay.
Only because it's going to draw from the same well. So I may say, all right, like 3 times, 4 times a week back when I was in school, I would spend time listening to the piece and doing harmonic and melodic and structural analysis.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
20 minutes, like not a big deal. You're talking about 20 minutes a couple times a week.
Yeah.
Because that way it didn't eat into my
Yeah.
like actual physical practice time.
Uh huh.
You know, in an ideal world, it's like, you know, we would just be preparing concerts or teaching like very little in our day, and we'd have all this time that we could spend breaking out all those things. The reality is that, well, what's the most priority? What's the largest priority we have right now? And it's all the things: maintaining new repertoire, learning new rep, or relearning old rep, technique and studies.
Uh huh.
Right there is your core practice.
Right.
Everything else, so like maybe you have another 30 minutes every day after dinner or something, you know,
Uh huh.
where, okay, today is music, do analysis and listening.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I do ear training, day A, B, back
Yeah.
and forth. You know, that way it's a better use of your time.
Yeah.
You also have dedicated away from the guitar work. I mean, you may pluck a
Yeah.
note or something, but you're not physically trying to engage in
Right.
improving your chops or your pieces.
Uh huh.
You know, that's where having, you know, like I got a keyboard under the desk here. I just roll out if I ever need something.
Yeah.
And I just slide it back most of the time so it's out of my way.
Yeah.
But that to me is the way I would start.
Okay.
Is think of your just a general class. You're not going to specialize in anything, you know.
Yeah.
And then after
Okay.
a week, you'll be able to say, okay, I got this 2 hours. So instead of 30, 30, 30, 30, now maybe it's 20, 40, 30, 30.
Uh huh.
Maybe it's, you know, and then you start breaking things out that way,
Yeah.
you know, but
Okay.
start with it simple. And I'd rather have it be, you know, uniform and then mold it
Yeah.
rather than say, okay, we're going to do an hour and a half on this and then 10 minutes on this and 20 minutes on this. You know,
Okay.
equal portions will show you what you need and what you want, and hopefully those two things come together.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's
Interesting.
easy to, dude, it's easy to spend all 2 hours just on rep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It feels like rep is the biggest return on investment for me, especially with an audience and practicing on the internet.
It does feel that way. But what's the stuff that allows you to play that rep?
Yeah, like reading theory,
Technique,
The
studies.
Thing, the
Right.
thing is, well, I definitely include technique and studies
Yeah.
in my practice sessions for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like before we started working together, I used to put a lot more time into theory and some definitely into ear training using apps and things.
You can put as much as you want. You could do 2 hours a day. It just shouldn't be part of that practicing 2 hours. That's kind of my
Yeah.
point. Is you can do as much or as little as you want.
Uh huh.
But I never want it to touch that 2 hour block or 4 hour block or however much
Yeah,
time you're going to
yeah.
be practicing during the day. I may insert it, like if I'm going to work on memorization and I don't have the guitar down where I'm just singing note names and reading
Yeah.
the score or
Yeah.
listening and reading the score. I may throw that in for like 20 minutes in between just to give my hands a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not in my 3 hours of practice. Here's 20 minutes out of it. It's here's my 3 hours of practice. Let me shove 20 minutes in there in between that last hour so that I'm not taking away anything from the actual routine of my practices. I don't know if
Okay.
I'm being clear, but I don't want it to come from my 2 hour block or my 3 hour block. It's 3 hour block plus 30 minutes.
Yeah, I have a hard time understanding the distinction. It's like, because ultimately you have X minutes a day, but like you've learned that you need 2 or 3 hours on your core guitar
Yeah.
skill and your core guitar work. And then
Yeah,
if
so
you
an
have
hour on
extra
technique a
time-
day.
Yeah, right.
And for me right now, that's flexible.
Uh-huh.
Because when I was in your position, it was an hour of scales every day,
Right, right.
period.
Yeah.
And then you get more flexible with those things. So now it's like an hour of technique, and that could be 20 minutes of scales and 40 minutes of arpeggios because I'm putting excerpts from my rep in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's where I get the win when I go to the rep. That stuff's already been taken care of, so it's not like I hit the brakes to work on that technical passage, right?
Okay.
But the reason why I think about it outside of this hands-on playing portion of my practice,
Uh-huh.
for me, one is my first injury.
Uh-huh.
Is I had to be explicit with how much I played at any given time in my rehab, and I was in my early 20s,
Uh-huh.
you know, because I had to chart that. So
Yeah.
I did a whole lot of non-playing type of practice, and then as it got
Yeah.
developed back up, so that I can be fully aware of how much I'm playing per day,
Uh-huh.
and that includes like playing in your lesson or at school or
Yeah.
anything. So when I was asked the very first question, when I have a ganglion cyst in my wrist here, and it's still there, but we never operated on anything. We found a way to live with it,
Uh-huh.
and I don't even notice it. It's been since
Yeah.
I was 23 or
Yeah.
24, and it really hung me up back then, and I didn't know what was going on, and it was just absolute pain when I played. And the doc said, "How many hours do you play at practice? Do you play a day?" And immediately in my mind, I just said, "Well, 4 hours of practice, maybe 4.5."
Yeah.
He goes, "Okay, but how much do you play a day?" Oh,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. Probably, maybe another hour. He goes, "Okay, so how much do you teach? And do you have I felt like an
Yeah,
idiot,
yeah,
but
yeah.
all of a sudden, the number went from 4.5
Yeah. Yeah.
to 13
Yeah, when you really... Oh, wow, 13. Yeah.
because
you
I'm
really-
teaching
yeah.
from 9 a.m. until like 8 p.m.
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm playing with every single student
yeah.
and then practicing for 4 hours until 1 or
Yeah.
2 in the morning. Dude, it was kind of like a revelation.
Yeah.
And that's what made me start thinking about I've got hands-on time
Yeah, yeah.
and hands-off time.
That makes sense, yeah.
So
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me,
yeah.
that's the rationale. So I'll put hands-off time in there if I want to break, but I can't tell. Dude, I haven't had a 4-hour window to practice in years.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
an hour in the morning, an hour and a half in the afternoon, and an hour or two at night.
Yeah.
And if, somebody doesn't show up, hey man, I just got an hour to work on whatever.
Right,
Right?
right.
So for me, that's why I have to think about hands-on practice and hands-off practice. So hands-off practice would be,
That makes
again,
sense.
plucking,
Yeah.
theory analysis, ear training, memorization,
Yeah.
anything else that you can think of, just listening and
Yeah.
score study.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I look at it that way, and I don't want anything to be able to touch the amount of time that I have because
Yeah.
it's so sacred.
Yeah.
Because we're doing like teaching so much, or streaming and video editing and life and spouses and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, honey, I can't go out with you tonight. I got to memorize this. That doesn't fly.
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't fly.
Yeah.
So that's my overall. Start there, and then when we see each other next week,
Okay.
you'll know.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do for this week, and then you do that and see how it feels. Because I can tell you what I do. I can tell you what I want students to do based
Yeah.
on a certain amount of time. But
Yeah.
you also have some other things that you're schooling yourself in,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Because the theory stuff, it's like, well, they got a 3-hour class where they're doing that, and then they have to do their
Yeah.
homework. But it's not like they're doing it every single day
Yeah.
the way you're doing it.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So what you got for me playing wise? I know you've been sick, man. I don't know. Are you ready to play anything today?
Um,
It's okay if not. We can just work on some
possibly
chops.
not. Yeah, like
That's fine.
I'd be okay with like just talking and like planning for a chunk of this time at least.
Okay.
Like, I guess one thing is just kind of general from your impression, like how did the last 3 months go for me? Like, what should I think of if I'm like simulating a graduate experience?
Just to be clear, this is a seltzer. I'm not
Of course.
having a beer.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So, like one way to phrase this question, I think, is like, what are my unknown unknowns? Like, there's like the quadrants of like your known knowns,
Oh, dude.
known unknowns. Like,
You're mathing out on me, man.
you haven't heard of that phrase before?
No, I have, and it's kind of like, oh shit. Okay.
Like, what do I not know that I don't know?
For
Yeah.
so much.
Right.
Oh, and that's true.
Everybody.
It's true for everyone, right?
Yes. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like I make the same amount of mistakes as any of my students. They're just really different mistakes. They're not wrong notes and wrong rhythms. That note didn't go the way I intended it to go, or here's this, squeak or buzz or something like that.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, we still have memory slips and all that jazz. We still make mistakes too. They're just different. So the first thing you got to do is be able to look at those last 3 months. So first off, technically, there was really good improvement overall. Scales,
Yeah.
moving forward in terms of speed development, overall finger independence on both hands have improved. You'd have to be the judge to determine, okay, was it 20% improved, 100% improved, 50%? Like, you're the one is it,
Yeah.
that's something that is more of an individual assessment. Also, corrections. So we're not just talking about, moving forward with our technical development, but also correcting certain things, the way we sit. The
Yeah.
pinky, this has improved dramatically, but there's still more to go,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So that's the thing is that we could just stop until it's fixed.
Uh-huh.
But we already had that conversation 2 years ago, remember?
I think
It was like,
so. Yeah.
we can, we
Could
can
you
keep
turn on your
moving.
original sound, by the way? Or turn off original sound?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
That's the
All good. Yeah.
The idea with trying to make corrections in terms of our physical things and our mechanics and our technique, there are two rationales. One is minimization over time, and two is you stop time and you stop progression, and you just do study scales and technique until it's fixed.
Yeah.
And that's, we talked about that, I think, when you first started studying with me, and we both agreed that stopping time to fix our problem is not in the cards.
I think
Right?
I think I'm more open to that now.
I that would be like no performing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You see what I mean? Because every
Sure.
performance then is starting to further cement certain things. So what we've done is we've taken the approach of minimization over time,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Minimizing it until it's either, next to gone or gone. And then we'll
Okay.
have a new thing to work.
Uh-huh.
Because if there's something like, for instance, if I have a thing that I've got to fix, I don't have 6 months to just stop playing concerts or
Yeah.
performances.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the downside of when you play a lot of concerts is you don't have time to woodshed those kinds of things out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
work on minimization over time. And that's what I mean. And so many things have gotten better, man. This thing is far more under your control and only comes around under certain situations,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
When we think about the left hand, the independence and development that you've had, especially that we see in the Regandi, where you've got scales and you've got to change these bass notes, dude, so much better.
Yeah.
So we look at what you've done. Now, what are the next things to do? One is to continue your technical development in terms of speed.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
To, if we're at 92, then what's the next threshold?
Right.
So once everything's rolling at 92, the next big benchmark is 120.
Okay.
So that's what 28 beats per minute faster, and that's over the course of a year.
Uh-huh.
So what would that be over 3 months? And then you go, okay, so maybe 112 or 108
Yeah,
would be a
yeah.
really good marker for my scales.
That's what I'm
Arpeggios.
targeting.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
That's your target?
my target is 108 by the end of April. Yeah.
good. And it's totally doable.
Cool.
Then also to look at what arpeggios do you not have in your wheelhouse,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And tremolo.
Uh-huh. Right.
To maintain tremolo on a weekly basis, at the very least, if not something more,
Yeah.
more frequent.
Uh-huh.
So that you're saying, okay, here's the next steps, further improvement of finger independence, right?
Uh-huh. More. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And that way now we can start to see, all right, here's how things start getting better. But also
Yeah.
that's on the technical side of things, choosing music like we were talking about earlier, that puts you in a position where now you've got to flex and learn new ways of phrasing by playing music from, different styles and things like that,
Okay.
you know? So I think the rep that you've chosen is a very good indicator of those things, that Bach Sarabande in particular, the Chopin, also good
Okay.
Lord. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't, if you don't have control over your rubato, you can't play Chopin. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a great piece to learn to do it. And I think that that particular piece is not overly demanding like the arabesque or something,
Yeah.
you know. So that's my thought.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
Hopefully that's in line with where you're thinking, or
I
if there's
think
something you're thinking that
yeah, I think so. I think that's in line. Definitely a goal for this month is like, and I may have slipped on this a bit. Is like
you've been
reduce.
sick.
Well, yeah, for sure, but that's different. Yeah, man, yeah, it's been rough. Like a goal I think for this season is like
Mhm.
slow down, like learn less new stuff and try to develop technique more, do more studies. Like, I mean, I do still want to be performing on YouTube and also
Yeah.
these concerts, but so I don't want to completely pause the world. Like,
No, no, no.
I'll still be playing Spanish Romance and things like that, but yeah,
But
like,
that requires, like in your list, maintaining
yeah,
repertoire, right? It still requires a certain amount of time commitment to it.
right,
Um, Along the lines of what you're saying, then I would say that the way I would describe what you're talking about
uh-huh,
is then one of your goals for this next quarter
yeah,
would be to have more thorough and deeper interpretations of your performances.
cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, just go
Interpretation is one of these
deeper.
nebulous words, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like a
yeah,
lot of people don't even, think it's literally how do I interpret the notes on that page,
yeah. Uh huh.
right? And so that means that we're talking about tone tendency,
Uh huh.
harmonic intensity in chord changes. We're talking about how you direct a phrase based on the composer's intent by the intervals that they used in their melody,
Yeah. Cool.
right?
Uh
Like
huh.
larger intervals taking more time than smaller intervals. So when you start seeing scales, knowing that you can move forward and back where you have larger leaps, you need to take more time
Uh huh.
based on a more vocal tradition of, hey, if I've got to sing that minor seventh, that takes me more time than singing that minor second.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so your interpretation is coming out of the literally the interpretation of the things that are on the page, implicit or kind of
Uh huh.
just they're intimating at it, their intent, written or unwritten, I guess is the way I would categorize it.
Cool.
Because that's how you synthesize and integrate all the things on your list,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have further independence of voices. That's another one that constant like, and I don't mean it just in Baroque music. I mean just in general. Do you hear a bass line or do you hear
Yeah.
bass notes?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
Right.
And so that's where musically we take our inventory and say, well, a lot of people don't hear bass lines.
Uh huh.
They hear bass notes, but they don't create discernible lines, and they don't have to be polyphonic. I mean,
Yeah.
even in a homophonic texture, are you hearing bum, 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 and the intensity of that,
Yeah.
1 5 1 5, or is it bum, 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 where it's just the same plane,
Yeah. Yeah.
So where one person may call that nuance,
Uh huh.
I don't. That's like, hey man, that's how C to G sounds. Then that's what we got to work on being able to express in our playing. That's
Cool.
interpretation.
Cool.
We're not getting into the deep philosophical rabbit holes of what we can and can't do. It's just like, hey man, when I sing bum bum bum, am I playing
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that to me would be a nice container
Uh-huh.
to put all the things that you said in there.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of just going deeper on things that I've already done, or like just go deeper, like higher quality
Yeah.
level of everything rather than picking up more and more new stuff.
So let
Like,
me show you where that begins.
uh-huh.
Play one octave of your two octave C major scale. And I don't care, not fast, man. Please. I know you're
Yeah.
sick and recovering. Just play 8 notes.
Oh my
Great.
gosh,
Half
yeah.
that speed, brother. Remember, you're getting your air back.
Right.
That was pretty good. Where did you hear the crescendo begin?
I was trying to do it throughout, but it started more by the end. Like
Right.
I
So
did more later.
we have what we want.
Yeah.
Good. Go even slower so you can control the relationship of every single note. Nice. You
That
kind
was
of
a little
bottomed out at
slower.
6, right? It grew up until the sixth note and then it flattened out.
Okay, I see.
Now you hear how loud the end was? That was great. But you
Uh-huh.
hear how loud the end was?
Like a
Like
little
you're
too
really
much?
slamming it. No,
Yeah, I
don't worry
kind
about
of.
too much.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It was that loud because of the relationship between the first 3 notes.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, how play your first C. Bum. Now play the octave above. There's your range.
Uh-huh.
Now portion out your crescendo to arrive there. You caught it, right? You
It's too
see, like, oh, I'm
early.
way too loud
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I noticed.
because
Yeah.
E and F were too loud too soon.
Mm-hmm.
So just what we're doing right now, dude, is if you're
Yeah.
thinking of an arc,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're bent like I need a piece of clay.
Yeah.
And literally you're starting to move these curves in ways that allow you to get what you're looking
Right.
for. So just play C to D. Do you hear how much of a oomph there is going to D? That.
That's less. Yeah.
Do you hear the difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if YouTube land does because this is really sensitive, like tiny stuff. Now go to E. Do you hear how now we've got a nice stepwise increase?
Yeah.
Pom 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 pa da dee dum. So F is gonna have a little bit more. Pa da dee
Yeah.
dee.
I
Go ahead, play
tried
C.
I tried earlier today singing while playing. It's a bad idea. So
Dude, you're gonna
I'm
sound like
not
corpse
today.
grinder.
Yeah,
You're
not
like
today.
CD.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So C, just go from C up to F. No, C, it's too much.
Yeah, that's too much.
E, where's F? Good, just play C F. Bum, bum. There's your. See, that's too much, right? Try to sing it in your head.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, it's a leap, but it isn't like
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like this big thing. So now
Yeah.
each step will take you there. Bum, ba, dee, dee. Nice. And now you feel like the F. You still got some room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, bum bum ba da dee. Good. G was a little too much,
Yeah.
right? Because then you eat up your headroom. You don't have anywhere to go. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need to have like at the bottom of the screen, like, I apologize profusely to the internet for singing. Right?
Yeah.
This is why we do private lessons.
Usually. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right?
Mhm.
Now, what does C to A sound like? Now, remember right there, you're getting near that ceiling of volume. There. Bum, bum. Think NBC. Bum, bum, bum. right? Nice. Now climb to the A. The A still has a little too much, but C, D, E, F, and G were great. Like you could feel that nice build.
Okay.
Yeah, A still has a little bit of pop, and that could be, well,
Might
some
be
of that might be the
nails.
carbon string. It could be a lot of
Might
things,
be.
but that's where you got to be careful because you got room to go still.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, all the way up to the B. That was the best scale I've ever heard you do on a musical level. That was great. I'm not talking about tone and stuff. Every note is leading you to the next one. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to go from that C up to the high C, right?
Oh, right. Yeah,
And
I'm
so
not
that's our
factoring. I wasn't
right.
thinking of that yet.
Well,
I
I mean,
was-
if we're only doing that first octave,
Yeah.
right? This is the kind of thing where you see why I have to separate hands on from hands off because, dude, we're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
talking about expressing a scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Cherniak, when he was asking me, this would count as I'm playing guitar,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Completely.
so that's why a lot of this stuff I have to separate into, okay, I'm just going to sing, even if I've just got a piano in front of me, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
So right here, go ahead.
that reminds me of a point that, I may most likely end up taking a job again at some point. And this time that is unbelievable, that I've had 4-hour practice blocks, like what you were
It
saying.
may get a
earlier.
little less.
Yeah, I'm not going to have 4-hour practice blocks. Like,
Well, you might on the weekend.
yeah, sure. But then I'm probably going to be doing weekend things instead.
Maybe, man. It depends on the,
How
your
obsessed.
significant other's work schedule, right?
Yeah.
But my point is that you may just be doing less of what you have now,
Right. Like,
which
my...
is a good way to become more efficient at what you do.
Okay, yeah.
The only way I ever became more efficient in my practice, was by not having as much practice time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's always...
Because and I mean, the first step was, you've already got that down, is just timing my practice.
Oh,
If I never timed it, then you never have any room to be efficient. But
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest things in terms of my overall efficiency was I still have to get the same amount done in half the time.
100%.
Yeah. So now, if you're doing this, right? Yeah, you feel that A kind of hop right out of there. There you go. Now, as we're going,
I'm still
Yeah.
following A, I think. But... Okay.
now go up. So do you notice now that we're going into that second octave, those steps that you were generating in the first octave are still the same, but they've been slightly reduced?
Yeah.
Because we
cool.
have a finite amount of headroom, right?
Right.
So dynamically speaking, we're still using the tendency of the note. We're still hearing whole steps and half steps, but
Yeah.
the amount of increase is now proportioned for where we're going to go.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. Much better. Man, yeah, you got to play that B like it wants to resolve the C, and you're just like pushing it down. You can't
Okay.
go where you to there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that B really has, like, I mean, it's the most tension in the whole thing, right? You
Yes,
can
no
feel the
more.
foundation of the building shake on that leading tone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, there you go. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see how all of a sudden you could
Yeah.
spend an hour doing scales?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the first time we were doing it, we were trying really hard not to shape with rhythm, right?
Yes.
So what we did is, and I'll try to, on the horizontal axis, this is where we express ourselves through time, moving
Yeah.
forward and pulling back. What we did was only explore the volume intensity,
Yes. Yeah.
the vertical. Because it's the combination of those two that equal the most expression, where someone will only do a crescendo and never move forward or pull back, or they'll move forward
Right.
and pull back, and their crescendos are kind of weak and flubby and they don't have both. So then you work on
Yeah.
now you're working. Notice I'm not really trying to play louder, right? Sorry. Then there's a little bit of dynamic, but now we combine both. And now you can really like bang, and that to me is practicing scales.
Cool. Yeah.
And working on interpretation, because everything we've done for the last 10 or 12 minutes has been based on hearing steps and half steps and whole steps and
Yeah.
larger intervals, because we're sitting here singing.
Yeah.
Rather than
Right. Right.
this is the crime. Here is C A F.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a major sixth and a descending third.
Right. Right.
That's the difference, and that's where now we're talking interpretation, dude. Just like 3 notes,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So if you're doing something like
Yeah.
it's just this 4 notes, right? So
Yeah.
are we hearing?
Right. Right.
That's why I spend time away from the guitar, trying to sing it, trying maybe even plunking something out on the keyboard just to hear what I want it to be, giving my hands a break. Then I come back and just apply all of that.
Cool.
But in your particular case, if you're just singing these things, then you're really capitalizing on a lot.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and it makes that dude. Someone asked me a long time ago. They were like, how can you just do scale like in arpeggio? Because you're doing that.
Yeah.
If we're just going like, it feels like that's fun too, but it's not the same kind of fun.
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes.
You got it, brother.
I'm gonna be right back.
That's fine. Get it out your system. Let me look at this chat. Let me see. What brand or luthier of guitar that I'm using? This guitar is made by Aaron Green, who's in Groton, Massachusetts. And this, I think I've had, what is this, a 2022? Yeah, this is approaching its 3rd year. Because I think I got it in March of 22. So we're Yeah, so almost 4. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And this he doesn't really do model numbers per se. It just, you say kind of like, here are your options in terms of the guitars that you'd like, and he does kind of a few different ones, but nothing that are radical from one another. So he doesn't like really have a name for the particular model that I'm aware of. Yes, I do have. That is, yep, that is the Holcomb 7-string. That is a custom 24, and then the newest member of the Ladd family is this Ibanez 8-string, which I have yet to have time to do a whole lot with, but it was yeah. So there you go. We've been doing the chat while you were gone.
Hell yeah. Nice. And what is the guitar again? Is it an? It's not an Aaron Green.
Yeah.
Or it is.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Did you
Yep,
have another one as well, or no?
Well, there are a few classicals that I've got. I have 2 Alan Chapmans that I played for a very long time and are still exceptional guitars. Mm-hmm. But I had played them for about 20 years, and getting to know Aaron, I heard a sound in his guitars that I heard in my head.
Yeah.
And my music, just like we grow, our voices change. Our musical voices change too. And I had played one of Aaron's, a while ago and I think I was there with Frank Wallace and my friends Dave McClellan and Frank Wallace, and I played. I think it was number 156 or something. It was the sound I heard in my head.
Cool. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. He said, I'm going to build you one, and I said, okay. So there we go. But I've got 2 Alan Chapmans. The one I played on for the longest time, I mean, maybe almost 20 years, was just a basic Aussie lattice.
Yeah.
It wasn't, anything kind of past that. And then a newer one that's based a little bit, I think, a little bit on an O'Leary type of lattice design. Cool. And then the rest of the guitars that are back here, I don't own. But like I have Frank Wallace's 10-string Stephen Connor that lives with me.
Yeah.
And should Nancy, his widow, want it back, obviously I'll give it back. But since I play a lot of Frank's music, he does have pieces for 10-string, and it's there. And then we've got, oh good lord, there's a Baroque guitar and a lute from the school that live here, even though they're not mine. So there are a few instruments that just live here, and I don't own them.
That is super cool.
Very. So what I would do with what we just did, now that you can breathe, approach your scales from that standpoint, so that when you're doing your speed, your ear is kind of leading you with those tones of whole steps and half steps and the larger intervals, because now you've got the crossover with your ear training.
Right.
In terms of melodic or intervallic ear training, it's not obviously dealing with harmony or anything like that, but being able to hear minor sevenths, when you can sing them, you'll hear them all day long. And I wish I'd known that when I was in school, because it was like, we do sight singing. It's like, kind of like having to do community service or something from the court. It's like you do your sight singing and then you're out. But no one back then had helped show me why we do these things.
Yeah.
You just kind of do them because it's part of the curriculum, and you don't think, well, when am I ever going to sight sing? Oh, I don't know. I don't sight read sight singing, but that skill, fixto, I apply here and every single day.
Yeah.
But no one at that time had helped me integrate that. I just saw the stars in the constellation. I didn't see the picture that it made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with music history or anything else. So apply that. So when you're playing some of your, for instance, just the opening chord of the Sarabande, right? What do you have? So immediately your F sharp is going up.
Yeah.
Your A is going up over the root.
Right.
And that's how you get your dynamic. It's by thinking of that, fa, sol, fa, la, si. Right? This is all just stepwise motion. Right?
Yeah.
And if it's coming from that standpoint, now we're thinking, do I want Ah, that's too much. What do I want? Oh, that's just this. Those just two notes. That wasn't a second. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just two
yeah.
notes. They didn't.
So this makes me think of a question that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be getting enough interpretation practice from going deeper into sets of etudes, like the Brouwer? Because what you're doing now reminds me so much of Brouwer.
You can do this on
2.
any piece, dude.
Yeah,
And that's
Sure.
the thing about etudes
yeah,
is that, when I was younger, and now this is one appropriate, I guess, point.
uh huh,
Man, we were chewing that stuff out like I mean, in a year, I was doing kind of crazy amounts of etudes,
yeah, yeah,
but never really viewing them as a piece of music.
uh huh,
Not that I didn't see
Interesting.
them as music,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, well, we do this on rep.
uh huh.
Rather than,
yeah, yeah.
hey, man, etudes are just really small bits of rep. You
Yeah,
know?
that's like the idea of it, right? It's not a
Yeah.
study. It's like it's meant to be performed. It's meant
Yeah.
to be music. Yeah,
And so
Right.
every etude is an opportunity for you to exercise every single thing
yeah,
in your musical mind.
uh huh.
And sorry, I just got a text from school. I got to answer back.
Sure.
But
Take your time if you want to handle it now. You're welcome to.
I know we're 2 minutes. Give me 1 second. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I just realized the time. Yeah.
Cool. I'm back.
Cool. All
Just
right.
thought I said it. So you can do this with any etude, any piece, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is why studies are so important because they're just tiny pieces.
Yeah.
They may have a technical point to them,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that we can't do all of these things to them, and they just sound better
Yeah.
when
yeah.
you do them, and they're just more fun. You know?
Yeah.
Is that the same as thinking about functions? That's a John question, man. You don't ask me anything like that. I
I think he
answer
means
it.
like functional theory, like functional harmony, maybe like the function of a chord in a sequence, maybe like the five
Okay, so if
chord-
we're talking about functions mathematically, that's a John
That's
question.
me. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my first thought. I was like, function.
Well, I'd
Why
looked
are
at function and
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
you- Yeah.
that's why my
I'll
chair
talk
has
about
wheels.
that all day. Yeah. Right. Right.
If we're talking about harmonic function is a chordal parallel to what we were talking about with melody and interval relationship or tone tendency. So if it's like you could have a C chord and a G chord, but if they're not, what's their relationship will tell us what it is. So if it's a 1-5, then we're going to play a 1-5 in a certain way. Otherwise, it's just a C chord and a G chord, and there's no relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So are we going 1-5? Or are we going 5-1? Or, like, what other keys might those appear in? Right? And then what's their function there? Because their function will determine how we get to it and how we leave it in terms of an overall expressive or dynamic way. Right? So I hope that answered your question, Ramon.
Cool.
If it was a math thing, then I'm sorry. I
Yeah, we could talk about that later. Yeah, in that case. Well, yeah, we are out of time, so I want to respect your time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Chris.
Let's stick around for a couple minutes and talk like you wanted to.
Yeah,
Okay.
if that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Thanks everyone for watching. This was always a pleasure.
Got to watch us sing and play a scale.
Yeah, for real. And a lot of
That's
talk,
where it's at.
planning
That's where-
and all that. Yeah,
That's where it's at.
good stuff.